Notice is hereby given that the mayor and city council of the city of Nogales will meet in regular session on Wednesday, April 4th. Council chambers. I call this meeting to order. And please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for invocation. Is Pastor James Kirby here? Mr. Dilly, will you do us the honor?
I'd be happy.
Thank you, sir.
Our most kind and gracious Father in heaven, we are grateful to be gathered together as members of this wonderful community and here to weigh in and listen to our elected officials conduct city business. We're grateful to have the freedoms that we enjoy and for those men and women who sacrifice so much to provide that wonderful freedom to us. We're grateful for the opportunity to be here in this building to conduct this business. We ask thy blessing to be upon all who are involved, that thy spirit will prevail and that we will be able to move this community forward in a manner pleasing to thee. We particularly ask thee to bless our city council, our elected officials, as they are asked to weigh in and make decisions that impact us on a personal level, that they too will be impressed upon by thy spirit and that we'll be able to again move forward in a manner pleasing to thee. We are grateful to thee for all that we have and pray for these blessings and do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Item number 4, call to the public. And I have 2 signed on. Mrs. Ana Rosas.
Good evening, Mayor Garino, Vice Mayor Valdez, and council members and everyone here. My name is Ana Rosas, and I am the chair of the Santa Cruz Regional Partnership Council of First Things First. And I'm here to invite you and announce a community awareness event that we're going to be sponsoring on Saturday, April 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Americana Hotel. And it's a fun day for families of children 0 to 5 years old. There will be a lot of activities. It's a free event. There will be a lot of practical parenting tips for parents to learn the importance of play and other activities. There's going to be free food, breakfast, and snacks, healthy lunch, and that the Americana has graciously donated for this event. And we have our partners that have confirmed attending and participating: the Nogales and Rio Rico Family Resource Centers, the U of A Cooperative Extension, Mariposa Health Center. We have a lot of activities planned. Each of the families will also be receiving a bag and filled with free books and other items for children. And it just says healthy snacks, healthy meals, healthy kids. And I brought one for each of the council members and mayor. And we really hope to see all of you and all our families in the community that are that have children that have just been born up to the age of 5. It's very, very important and critical to help these young children in our community to be ready for kindergarten, and that's the purpose for our participating here in the community. So thank you.
I want to thank you very much and for all the work you've done and the organization that you're with. And yes, we'll do our best to be part of your event and anything that is needed, especially for this program throughout the year.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next speaker will be Mr. Tony Sedgwick.
evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, staff. My name is Tony Sedgwick. I am the president of the Paul and Cabot Sedgwick Family Foundation. We do business here in Santa Cruz County as the Santa Fe Ranch. We are a nonprofit dedicated to agriculture. We were recognized as the outstanding ranch in the state of Arizona in 2011. We do environmental conservation, and most importantly, and the reason I'm here this evening, is we provide out-of-doors opportunities for the people of Santa Cruz County, in particular our children. In that regard, we have worked with almost every elementary school here, both the middle schools, the parochial schools, and charter schools. We are currently working with the high school. We have established history clubs at both the Rio Rico and the Nogales High School. We're working with the art department, doing a t-shirt contest right now, and of particular interest, and the reason that I'm here this evening, we carry out, underwrite, and make sure it happens, a water festival whereby the members of the Nogales High School Science Club have the opportunity of teaching about water conservation, the importance of water, which is fundamental in the desert, to all the fourth graders in the county. We anticipate we will have about 400 to 500 fourth graders being taught by 40 to 50 high school students. It's an extraordinary event, a great deal of fun, and wonderful for our children. We will do this at the Nogales High School on the second day of May. I'm here first to let you know about that. Secondly, to ask that you consider, particularly those of you who are elected officials, you consider volunteering at this event. I believe it's important for our young people to know that our leaders understand and are concerned about the issues of water. These issues will be, for them, the most important that they will face. The wars that we will fight in this coming century will be about water. These kids need to understand how water is conserved and the importance of water. So if you, ladies and gentlemen, would consider acting as volunteers and being present that day, that would be terrific. And then the final point, the least popular point, in the past we have received assistance from the University of Arizona and from the Department of Water Resources. Unfortunately, they have been squeezed by their budgets. They come down and provide us with a great deal of materials. We've obtained a 90% reduction on their fees. We also have costs. We have to transport the children to the high school. We've obtained an 80% reduction on fees from Citizens Bus Service. Nonetheless, at this time, Santa Fe Ranch is underwriting 100% of the costs of this event. We are not in Nogales, and we hope that you, as the leaders of this community, will consider the possibility of assisting us in defraying some of those costs. I would request that you consider a donation of $500 towards this event. It's an extraordinary event. As I say, we'll have probably somewhere between 350 and 500 fourth graders, 40 to 50 high school students, and in teaching, they will learn a great deal. That's my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sedgwick, and that is a great event. I've been part of this, and I'm sure the members of the council would be interested in that and being there as volunteers. And in reference to the contribution, that is to the city attorney and the city manager. So they heard your request. So we'll look into that. But I want to thank you very much.
Could I ask just one question? Do I need to take a second step, or?
No, this will be taken care of by administrators.
And if they decide to, I'll just get a check.
You will be informed. Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 5, is there anybody else in call to the public? Anybody else? No? Okay, item number 5. We moved the mayor's and council report from now on. It will be right after a call to the public. So, mayor and council report on current events, and we'll start with Mr. Diaz. Well,
A couple of things, Councilman Venecian, Councilman Barada, and our city attorney, Joe Machado. We all were up in Washington DC, early part of March. We met with our congressman, Chris Como, the legislative assistant to Raul Grijalva. We met with Senator McCain and Senator John Kyle, and we presented documentation on the IOI, on the Department of Defense proposed budget, and also on the border issues as far as long times coming and going to and from Mexico. I took a few letters that a few of my constituents wrote out complaining of the long waits and all that, and we all presented everything. We left the copies of everything with their staff up there, and well, no promises were made or anything like that. So I'm gonna propose that we keep hammering away emails, phone calls, letters, and keep on telling our higher elected officials that we need help down here, and we need them to step in and give us a hand. So that's what I have right now.
Thank you. Mr. Hanesian?
Yes, it was a very good trip there to Washington DC, and just the only thing I want to add, we did meet with Kyle and McCain. It was an hour and a half breakfast, which is the first time I've ever been with two senators for an hour and a half. And other than that, I was the master of ceremonies at the debutante cotillion, and this year I do have just the pictures of the girls and the magazine for 2012 after 2011. And the cotillion generates like $40,000, a little less than $40,000 in donations, and from the girls that join in there, and that is distributed throughout the community. And hopefully for next month, I'll give you the list of where all the donations are given.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanesian. That's a good effort. Mr. Parra?
I guess I concur with Councilman Diaz, but we met with Grijalva's office in 1-in-1, and we gave the whole 100 yards what's going on in the border and the economy in Nogales. So we covered some of the bases, and it's just the third year I go that I meet with them, with all three senators, and it's the same thing that we mull all over and over again, and even got a letter that we talked about over there. And they seem not to listen to many of the ports here. And I told them that when they give out 100 men, they think it's 100 people that are going to come to the Nogales port. It's for every port in the country.
Yes.
So we had a good 1-on-1 conversation with them. We gave them all the complaints we have from our brothers in Nogales and all the business people, how they were complaining about the time it takes them to cross the line. The business people that have restaurants and they can't afford to come here and spend 3 hours in the line and another hour and a half or 2 hours to cross over. So they can't afford to lose that kind of time in their business. So I guess, like Joe says, we're going to have to get somebody to start doing our correspondence to them and keep them intact and keep them pushing until they start listening to us.
Yes.
That's about it.
Good idea.
Let me just add that Senator McCain did say that he had asked the people here on the port, or maybe it's in Washington DC, if they needed more funding for the Port of Nogales, and they've been told that no, they had sufficient funding. So that was said by him.
It'd be nice to know exactly who to believe. Huh?
Well, I would like to ask who it is.
Yeah, it is. Vice Mayor?
Well, I attended the fashion show that they have at Nogales High School for the juniors, for the junior prom for next year. It was beautiful. The girls just looked awesome, just looked like models. I visited the Chamber of Commerce. They're giving classes for computer classes. They're all 35 people are attending. On Tuesdays, on Wednesday, they're giving also the ESL classes. And I also visited the center where here the city is lending them this place to make the income taxes.
Okay.
And so far, yesterday, they had already helped out 516 persons or families, and they were very grateful to the city for this help. I also visited, well, I'm just going to say I visited several places, and so far so good. We've had very good response about the city, even though we are being criticized and complaining constantly on the radio. But again, we can't, we're not gold coins to please everybody, okay? So we try our best, and I also want to congratulate the police department. They're doing a wonderful job. I'm very proud of them. And not only me, a lot of people have said that they're doing their job, excellent job. Mr. Robles over there, your ambulance service is excellent, and your services to the fire department is awesome. So I'm very proud to say I'm glad to be part of the council for the city of Nogales.
Thank you very much,
Thanks.
Vice Mayor, and that's true, you know, the comments on the radio, well, you know, only 1% listen anyway, so.
You need a silver bullet.
You need a silver bullet.
Well, they can't go to the gold coin.
But yes, I know. Councilwoman?
Yeah, I attended the Little League inauguration. I also attended the Liga Internacional de Veteranos inauguration. I attended at the Consulado Mexicano Daime Becas breakfast, and that was sponsoring 11 local kids that the Mexican government is sponsoring these becas for our students, totaling around $30,000. We also had the Mariachi Festival. That was a very, very good event, and I want to thank everybody that helped me work towards that festival. I also attended a performing art event in Nogales, Sonora, sponsored by the U.S. Consulate. That's through the Hermanamiento Ambos Nogales. And I'm working towards the Fiestas de Mayo Festival. Everybody is invited. Remember, May the 5th, Pearson Park, 5 to 10. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Felix?
Well, I've been doing my ordinance, I haven't done too much. But I have a report on EBT. They have 1.2 million in the account. We're doing still pretty good, but it went down considerably. That's all.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. And you,
I haven't been able to attend because of my health.
no, I understand. You continue doing your job at your therapy and get well.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, please.
Yes.
I was also called by the high school to help out with the senior project, and I do need a lot of help, so I'm asking everybody that's interested in being, that is being able to go and be
One?
a judge. I have a date. It's on the 11th of May. 11th of May. I think it's a Friday.
Mr. Mayor.
10th or 11th of May. Yes, sir.
Madam Vice Mayor, if you want to just have somebody contact me from the school, I'd be happy to distribute that information with the staff and see what we can do to support that.
Well, I'm the one's going to be doing it. I'm going to go back to
Perfect.
school, and I'm going to be helping them out as a volunteer, mind you.
I was approached over the weekend by a teacher and said, hey, is the city hall going to be able to help support this again? And
Is
I
that
said,
Mrs. McAfee by any chance?
it was Mr. Schwan.
Well, Mrs. McAfee is in charge of the program there right now.
I just said, just give me the information,
But I
I'll be happy
will,
to
and I
help.
would appreciate anybody here in the public that's interested in helping. It would be a great help. We need about 200 persons to be judges.
It was
So
a lot
that
of
goes
fun
for the
last, it was a lot of
council,
fun.
Mayor,
Yes.
and please.
All right. Thank you very
It
much.
was a lot of fun, so.
Thank you, sir.
Can I add to my report, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Did on what the Vice Mayor said about the police department? They're doing a heck of a good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's good. It's good for them to know. It's very important. My report is on March the 10th. I attended the Nogales Little League opening day. Vice Mayor, you were there with us too.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Noel Janesian was there. Esther was there too. Mr. Parada was also missing, but in his presence, his son was there. I kind of write mine down this way I don't forget them. And I was, when you guys were talking, I said, you were there, and you'll be part of this one too. And on March the 12th, I went to Phoenix, Arizona, Mr. Dilly and I, to represent Nogales and actually represent the southwest border, to speak with Representative Peggy Judd regarding the House Bill 2586. The Port Authority was there with us, Nogales NCD was there with us, the Fresh Produce people were there, mayors from throughout the Southwest, because of this bill that would have caused a lot of problems to the whole state. At 62 miles north and the length from Douglas all the way to Yuma on a warning that would have caused a lot of problems. And luckily, Representative Judd sat there and listened to us. She had her thoughts, we had our thoughts, and she decided to pull the bill. So we were successful on killing that bill, and we were very lucky because, for what I understand, it doesn't happen that often once it's gotten to that level. So she was very good, and she represents actually District 25, which is our district. It's different redistricting now, but at the time, right now, and at the time she was elected, she was representing us. But we were successful, and I want to thank Mr. Dilly for that too, for being there with me. On March 15, I went to the meeting regarding the animal care control. Very important. That'll be one of the subjects that we'll be discussing on a joint meeting with the county in the future. On March 20th, I had the first City of Nogales State of the City address. I believe it was very successful. I've gotten a lot of remarks, and a lot of people have called me and said that they very pleased with the city, the work that we're doing as a council, and the work that our staff and our employees are doing for the community, and they feel very comfortable with us. So, Vice Mayor, what you said right now about the bad information, we are doing good for the image building of our city, so let's continue doing the good work. On March 23rd, I met with the Presidente Municipal, Jose Angel Hernandez Barajas, and 8 of his councilmen and councilwomen to discuss trade and the sisterhood agreement and other border issues in my office. It was very, very good meeting that I had with them, and I was very pleased that they came to our City Hall to speak about these issues, issues that we need to talk about, we need to discuss, because we are the model port of the state of Arizona, and they understand that. And the trade with Mexico is the most important trade that we have as a nation, as the United States. So I just hope the way we understand these things, I hope the people up at the state capitol would understand the same thing, how important our city is for the whole state of Arizona. And I mean from corner to corner of our state. On March 24th, I attended the City Fest sponsored by Centro Familiar Cristiano here at the Chia Park. Great event. It was all for the children and parents to get together and have a great day at the park. Some people actually thought it was an event that was being actually built and put by the city of Nogales, but it's because it said City Fest. Everybody's city. The whole, you are city, we are city, everybody's city. So, you know, the thing about it is that these people put it together just so that it was a faith-building organization, and they got together, and everything was free. Everything was donated by the Community Food Bank, by the Borderland Food Bank, by different organizations, bicycles that they gave out to the kids, and they had a fun day at the park. That's what actually it was. So I really appreciate that this organization did this, because that is what we need more in our community, to show that we are living in a very safe and sound community and healthy. On March 29th, I did a second State of the City address in Rio Rico. I was asked to go speak about the State of the City address with the Board of Realtors. It was very good, except that one turned into a question and answer. It was a little bit more tougher than the first one, but I think I did a good job, so I represented Rio Rico. And then one of the things that I attended this month that I thought it was so successful, and I want to thank Councilwoman Lopez on this one. I attended the Hermanamiento Ambos Nogales Mariachi Festival, and if any of you were there, you would have been very happy for our Nogales Apaches, mariachis, and our local schools. There was 3 mariachis from here and 3 from Nogales, Sonora, and it was actually presented and brought forth by Councilwoman Lopez and Consulado Jaime Paz y Puente General from here, and Consulado Chad Cummings from Nogales, Sonora, the American Consulate. These are events that are image building, and that's why it's so important to realize and to acknowledge the need for us to be able to sit together I have to say that they tell me there's 700 to 800 people fill the auditorium, and I kind of like to say it was almost to the brim. I mean, they opened up those areas to open up the new seating in the back. That's how many people were there. It was full, you know. So I hope we can continue doing this with both consulates, because this is very important for our community. And that's the extent of my report for this month. Thank you very much. Item number 6, presentation. No, he does the end. He's at the end. We're going to put him at the end when everybody leaves. No, I'm just joking. By himself. Item number 6, presentation. Presentation of Fire District Ambulance Collections. Maria Gordon?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
I'd like to introduce Ms. Gordon, if that's okay. Maybe 3 weeks ago, huh? About 3 weeks ago, we met with Ms. Gordon from Fry District, and the purpose of the meeting was to try to seek some answers and some information. Council's aware that a little over a year ago, we ventured into an agreement with Fry District to help the city with our ambulance billing. We weren't seeing the internal response that we'd like to in terms of recovery of those ambulance bills, and in terms of success rate on the percentages that we were seeing from places like Sierra Vista or even Rio Rico. They were having a better recovery on their billings, and so we ventured into this arrangement with Fry District, outsourced our billings. We recently renewed that contract, but as we were looking at our financials, we again were left with some questions. We weren't still seeing the type of recovery on the ambulance billing that we would have expected. So we called Ms. Gordon to come and visit with us, and it was extremely informational. I was educated through the process. I thought that the information would benefit the council. We wanted to learn more about our patients, our demographics, what makes us unique, or are we unique? What might be some of the holdups in getting the type of success rates that other places were benefiting from. After we got done with the meeting, most, if not all, of my questions were answered, and I thought that if we could invite her here tonight and present to you, hopefully some of your questions will be answered. Certainly, if her presentation doesn't answer them, she's extremely knowledgeable. She'll go into a little background about what they do as an agency, not only for themselves, but for a lot of other agencies here in the state of Arizona. And she comes as a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure she can field whatever questions you might have for her. So without further ado, I'll turn the time over to Ms. Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you for allowing me to come speak this evening. As you said, my name is Maria Gordon. I'm with Fry Fire District. I did a presentation for you this evening. It's going to be rather quick. Please stop me at any point if you have any questions or if there's any information I can give you on any of this, okay?
Thank you.
Just a brief history. We started doing outside billing contracts in 1995. At that point, we had one private provider and 2 small fire departments. We had a full-time billing clerk, 2 part-time clerks, and a full-time administrator who also oversaw the billing and was the CFO for the fire district, did HR, payroll, and benefits. We billed a percentage of collections at that point. Currently, we have 8 external contracts, and we also do in-house billing for our own district. We have 2 full-time billing technicians, a part-time billing clerk, and 2 administrative personnel who complete billings for Fry Fire District, and we assist with all other billing contracts. We also bill now for per call versus a percentage, as it's more beneficial for the external companies typically.
Maria, who
Yes,
are
sir?
some of those external customers that you
We
support?
bill for healthcare innovations, which encompasses Benson, St. David, Tombstone, Wilcox, and Bowie. We bill for Arrowhead Mobile Healthcare, which is in Sholo, City of Bisbee. We have Sunside Pierce Fire District, Buckeye Valley Fire District, Gila Bend, obviously the City of Nogales, and I and Alfreda Fire District. And we do our own house billing. I'm just going to give you a brief process of our billing. Basically, we receive the patient care reports from the city of Nogales. Once we receive them, per our contract, we have 72 hours to have them in the system and billed out. We typically have them in within the same 24-hour period in which we receive them. The invoices are mailed out or sent electronically at minimum twice weekly. Revenue starts coming in within 30 to 45 days once the insurance has received it. Some of them take up to 60 days. If no payment is received within the first 45 days, a bill is generated and sent to the patient for follow-up. That way they can call us if we have an incorrect ID number, if they've updated their insurance and we didn't have it or the hospital didn't have it. And in that case, we will then set the billing over and we'll bill it to the correct insurance company. If we receive no payment or patient contact within the first 90 days, the patient is sent to the collection agency. Now, before any of that would ever happen, they receive 3 notices to the patient themselves. We make a phone call to the patient, and then we still allow them 30 days after we've made contact with them to make some sort of payment. If they still do not make one, we will send it to an outside collection agency, and at that point, they'll have interest and fees assessed on them as well. Now, these are your numbers. They are specific to City of Nogales, and they are from January 1st through December 31st. I couldn't do fiscal year just because we don't have a full fiscal year with you yet. Now, your Medicaid transport, that's your access plans. You had 1,061 calls, or 32% of your total. Medicare or Medicare HMOs is 983 calls, or 30% of your total. Immigration is 459 calls, or 14%. Commercial insurance transports is 380, or 12%. Private pay, these are people who have no insurance and it's their responsibility, is 11% at 356 calls. And then other federal, TRICARE, VA, etc., is 36 calls, or 1%. The reason it's so important to know this, yes, sir.
This is our,
Yes.
this is ours.
Yes, this is specific to you, sir. The reason it's so important to note that is because Medicare is fee schedule based. So what that means is they're not going to pay any more than what their fee schedule allows. And they only pay up to 80% of their fee schedule. So an example of that is if you have a $1,000 bill, their fee schedule will allow for them to pay on your base rate $256, $255.79. The payment will only be for $204.63 of your base because that's all they will pay up to. The rest is a mandatory write-off. The only thing the patient can be billed for is what Medicare allows for, which is typically around $100. So you're receiving probably, this doesn't include mileage, but you're looking at about $300 to $400 for payment when it's a Medicare patient. Yes, sir.
Do you have some kind of a time limit on Medicare and so forth?
1 year.
1 year?
Medicare is 1 year. Access is 6 months. Most commercial insurances are about a year. So we have up to a year to get it to them, rebill it, whatever we have to do. As long as we're within that time frame, if they deny it, we can always appeal it, and they will go back and still pay it as long as we can show support as to why they should pay it. And of course, that's as good as the paperwork is, which your fire department, your fire guys have been doing a very good job of getting us the information we need if it wasn't included and we have questions on it. So that it's working well as far as that.
So, just a question too. Then, Medicare then will pay, it's $204?
Right, on your base rate.
Plus mileage.
Correct. Your mileage is $15.25. They'll pay up to $6.
Like from here to Tucson.
Right. They'll only pay up to $6 and I want to say 93 cents. $6.93 per mile.
Per mile.
Correct.
So on 60
So-
miles, if you go 60 miles, they pay that, roughly $400?
Right. Right.
So they add that to the 204?
Correct. Correct.
Now, they don't pay anything coming back? right?
No.
Just-
Well, only when the patient's in the rig. Correct.
Right.
But because you don't do it in facilities, you're not going to see a lot of that. Most of your mileage
It's
is
just here.
10, yeah, 5 to 10 miles.
Okay. So it could be 5 or 10 miles.
Right. And
Yeah, it's another $60.
right. And the reason this is so important is because if you add up the Medicare and Medicare HMOs and immigration, because immigration uses the Medicare fee schedule, you're looking at 46% of your call load, where that's the most you're going to get from them.
So roughly the most you'll get is like $300.
Right, from the insurance, and then the patient about $100, but it really, some of them have secondary insurances, a lot of them don't,
So it's max 300 pretty much.
pretty much.
So the remainder of that is a mandatory write-off.
Correct. You're mandated by federal government to write that off. So you will never, ever receive that money. You cannot bill the patient for it. And now,
And Medicaid is how much are they paying?
now Medicaid is the state access plan. They pay 71%. The other 29% is a mandatory write-off as well. So the other 32, the other high number of percentage calls, you will never receive more than 71% of that.
Which is how much in dollars?
Well, your base rate is 1,071 plus your mileage, so you're looking at roughly $750 to $800.
Oh, we don't pay that much? So Medicare is the one that really cuts it off.
Right, Medicare has the fee schedule, and Medicaid has been doing 5% decreases the last few years, which is why they're at 71% now. They are looking at more cuts. We don't know what's to come with them right now. For your commercial insurances, some of them pay 100%. You're looking at typically 80%. And then the patient's usually responsible for the rest of that, though, because you don't have contracts with any private insurance companies, so we can balance bill the patient for those.
So approximately $800?
Yes, sir. In the front end, yes.
And I'm sorry, what did you say about immigration transport?
They are done the same as Medicare, so that goes back to the roughly $300. And then your private pay, that means they have no insurance. We work with them, we allow them to make payments, whatever they can do. You get some money from them, it's not typically a lot.
So Maria,
Yes, sir.
in a perfect world, right, with these parameters, from what you're saying, I can't see an agency getting any better than 70 to 80% on their collections because of write-offs,
Correct.
mandatory write-offs.
Correct,
Okay.
that's correct, sir. And the next.
So pretty much, I'm sorry, we get paid, here's 32, 30, that's 62%, 76%. In the commercial, at 76, here you're looking at 88% that we, plus private. So where do we not get paid? Where?
Well, no, this is just showing the percentage of your total call transports.
Yeah.
How much of your call load is in each of these insurance categories. So that totaling, these numbers are totaling 100% of your call load.
Another, Maria?
Yes, sir.
So if the second category, they're Medicare,
Mhm.
if that percentage of our calls, if we were like 80% Medicare,
Right,
then, I mean, we would be looking at
About
a successful
30%.
collection rate of like 30%.
correct, about 30%.
The rest would have to be a write-off.
Yes,
Okay, I get it. All right.
Yes, but I mean, actual billing, it should show that we get paid, unless you hear the private pay, right, which is 11%, right? That could be pretty much but I mean, if you look at this, we get paid, whatever we get paid, up or down, whatever it is, we get paid in roughly 80%.
well, you get paid for roughly 80% of your calls one way or the other.
Right, to
correct.
80% of the calls.
Correct,
Right.
just not at a rate of 80%.
Right,
Correct.
right.
Okay, and then this slide just is a pie chart showing exactly what I just said. It just shows you, and you can see how large your blue and yellow area are, and those are your Medicare and your Medicaid programs. Now, our collection agency is Coaches Collections, which is located in Sierra Vista. We work very closely with them. Only once it's actually sent to them will a patient see fees and interest placed on them or placed on their credit report. They have access to a database which will help them find the patient's current address, that kind of stuff. Worst case scenario, if they can at least make contact and these patients had insurance, we can still go back and bill their insurances, which is why we try to get it out of our office within the first 90 days. That way we still have plenty of time for almost every insurance that we can still go out and get you some revenue.
Maria?
Yes, sir.
Regarding Cochise Collections, the way that works in our contractually with the city and with you
Right.
is their fee that they tack on to the bill is really a tack on to the bill as long as on our end, we're providing a service to a patient that has signed off saying,
Correct.
hey, I need this service.
Correct, because the patient agrees to any and all fees that arise out of the transport, the fee is passed on to the patient. So you would, in essence, still receive 100% of what we charge them
Okay.
for. That's correct.
So in probably the more uncommon scenario where we're transporting somebody who is unconscious, not able to sign and say, hey, please take care of me.
Right.
If it does happen to go to collections, in that scenario, the fee would actually come out of our,
What they would collect. So
What-
if it was
okay.
$100, you'd be able to receive up to 70 because they would take 30% off the
perfect,
top.
okay, thank you.
Correct. Okay, now this is the big one, and this was one of the ones that was really nice for your staff to hear. Medicare is undergoing a conversion, a very large conversion right now, which in the long run is going to be a lot better for everybody. It's a lot more secure. It makes everything a lot smoother. However, the process to integrate their new system and our billing program has taken some time. We are 100% compliant with them now, and we anticipate that between 80 and 120,000 in revenue between now and the end of fiscal year should be coming to the city of Nogales. It may be slightly higher. Obviously, it could be slightly lower. The range allows for denials of non-covered services, i.e. transports back home for patients that are Medicare eligible. They may not cover those because they're saying they're non-covered services. Some of them may come back and say they don't have Medicare, they have a Medicare HMO. At that point, we'll just switch it over to their Medicare HMO or whoever their insurance is. But this will allow revenue to exceed the projected figures that finance gave you at the last meeting.
So when we entered into this contract relationship, we had projected it. Many of you will remember this $200,000 number that we should be able to benefit by going into this contractual relationship. We weren't seeing the uptick. We were breaking even, but we weren't seeing where we wanted to be. Those projections were based with prior knowledge. We didn't really fully understand the Medicare, Medicaid type impact on our collections. So we had a $200,000 number. When we met with Maria and she explained this renewal process and that it was taking some time and there was a delayed payment to the city coming, it made me feel a lot better about what we would expect by the end of this fiscal year and showing on our books. And if we receive that, then I think we're being pretty successful in our efforts on the collection side.
And to backtrack a little bit, we didn't have a signed agreement with Cochise Collections for the city of Nogales. We've since rectified that. And all of the stuff that's been written off where the patients haven't paid have been sent to them, and they've started getting notices out. So we're hoping to start seeing money come in from that as well. Basically, they just ask for your money. You get knowledgeable staff, HIPAA compliance. We provide you with monthly and annual reports. You have some savings in your office supplies, annual support, maintenance. Your staff, it allows them to have more time to work on other projects. We did provide training for your crews and support staff. We're always willing to come back and do more of that stuff. That's not a problem. We try to treat your patients with the utmost professionalism, and we are very courteous to them. We try to make sure we do everything in our power to work with them. We don't want to send anybody to collections. We want them to make payments. We want to get you money and help them at the same time. We can give assistance with government reporting. This past year we helped with the state required ARCR, so that came in. Basically, in conclusion, we really appreciate that you've given us the opportunity. We appreciate the relationship that we've established with the city of Nogales, and we hope that it'll continue into the future. And with that, if you have any questions of me, please let me know.
A question, I guess this is the question that is most prevalent is, I mean, as compared to when we were doing the building, how much more are we picking up on the actual thing? Because looking at this here, it's all paperwork. It's just filling in the blanks in the computer for Medicaid, for Medicare, for I don't know about immigration transports or commercial insurance. Private pay is something then that the federal agency. So are we ahead of where we were before, or
You should finish ahead of where you were before, even with our fee being taken out. And again, a lot of it is, I don't know if you have anybody on staff who's familiar with ambulance billing at this point. I know Sonia left and she was familiar with it. But you're going to see an increase of revenue, and the longer we're with you, the higher the increase is going to be. We've only been with you less than a year. You typically need at least the first 2 years to see the history and to know, and we have to be able to get the authorizations from immigration and all those places. You've actually had a pretty good return with immigration, which wasn't there before, because we've been working with Alyssa Gomez and we've been getting the authorization numbers, and we've been trying to get you that money rather than you just having to write it all off. So again, it's going to take a little bit of time, and with the Medicare thing, that was a huge issue. And that has been rectified. So we're hoping you're going to start seeing more and more come in. The more your call load goes up, one of the things is you don't do electronic patient care reports right now. That would speed everything up because we have it instantly. As soon as your crews run on the report, we go in, we print it up, get it into our system, and filled out. As it stands now, we have to wait a few days before we have that paperwork to enter into our system. So that slows the process. Anything that will help speed up the process gets you a higher return on your money.
If you had an idea in the past year, how much has been collected?
In the past year, it is, I can tell you, actually. In the past year, it was $680,000. And that was with no money coming in the months of basically January, February, and March, because we started mid-January for you. So from January to December, that's what came in.
And that doesn't include the money that is being projected from Medicare?
Correct.
That will be coming in the next 90 days or whatever?
Correct.
Or the collection effort?
Right, right, which we're hoping will start moving as well.
And Mr. Dilly, what was collected last year, the year before?
I don't have that number in front of me. Terry, do you know what that number would be, please?
749.
The number collected for fiscal year 2010-2011 was $749,000. That encompasses part of the time that Fry Fire was with us, because that's half a fiscal year with them, where they performed some of the collection efforts. So that's from July 1st of 2010 through June 30th of 2011. And so that amount was $749,000. The previous year, fiscal year 2009-2010, was $709,000.
Which was all us, right?
Right, exactly.
So this year's in comparison, we should be doing like $100,000 more.
And which, once the Medicare money comes in, you should be right about there. That's correct.
And then from there, you figure it should basically,
We sure are
next year,
hoping.
we should be making $500,000 more.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening.
Mr. Coppola, he just wants to ask a question.
Okay.
Mayor, Council, just from listening, and maybe this can be cleared up, and it's not to make disparaging remarks about the company at all, but I get the impression from hearing what was presented here that we went into this contract not knowing how the Medicare and Medicaid formula worked. And so I'm just wondering how staff could have come up with these estimates. That's just a comment I wanted to make. So we're projecting $100,000 more than we made last year, but we're not hearing anything about the expenses. Is that $100,000 going to cover the expenses, the added expenses that we have this year? Is it going to?
We charge you $39,000 a year, sir, so yes.
And the other question was, as I understood it, we went into the agreement based on a percentage, but at the beginning you said it's now based on calls.
No.
Did that make a big difference, or?
You didn't go into it as a percentage. That's what we did in 1995.
Oh,
You went into it
I
as a
got you.
flat amount, yes, sir.
All right,
And then
that's
it's-
all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coppola. Thank you, Maria.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you for
Good
allowing me this
presentation. Thank you very
opportunity.
much. Item number 7, presentation of residential curbside recycling.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, at least on our end, and staff's end, we've been very excited about tonight's presentation to the council. Several months ago, we embarked on a pilot program on a curbside recycling program. And I have here tonight with us Mr. White. He will present the findings and how staff is going to move forward. We're treating this as an administrative effort, but wanted to make sure that the council is up to speed on what's happening and what the next several months has in store for the community. So without further ado, we'll turn it over there.
Ron, you have 2 minutes, sir. I'm sure you can.
We'll make it a minute.
No, all right.
Is that
I'm just
all right?
joking.
All right, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, like Mr. Dilly said, just like to present real quick what we've seen over the last 5 months in our pilot program that we began in Meadow Hills, Valle Verde, Villahermosa neighborhoods. And as you can see in the graphs that were provided to you in your packet, except for the week of Veterans Day, when trash was collected a day earlier and we didn't see a lot of participation, and the week of Thanksgiving Day, where we didn't pick up recycling at all, because Thursday we picked up recycling, the city was closed that day. Other than those 2 days, you can see that collections have been pretty steady. We've been counting how many blue bins we collect every Thursday, and it's been right around 350 to 400 bins on a route of about 700 to 750 houses. So we're looking at about a 50% participation rate. And on average, the second graph on your packet that has a box around it, the bottom line shows you how many tons we're collecting a week. It's about 2 tons a week. And we don't vary very much. It's been real consistent. And so we've seen real positive results. The good thing also is that we haven't heard any complaints. In fact, the first about month or so, when people they called in complaining that their trash wasn't collected on Thursday, obviously we were only collecting recyclables. We only got a handful of those phone calls, and when we discussed with them the purpose of what we were doing, that we were reinstating the recycling program, they were very supportive of it, and wanted to do that, to recycle. And so, as a result, we'd like to thank the residents of the neighborhoods and also thank the sanitation department. They've really done a great job, both sides together, in sorting and making this a success. And we're going to roll it out to 2 more routes. One route is also collected on Monday, trash on Monday, and then recycles on Thursday. It'll be all the routes on Patagonia Highway, so on Royal Road, Vidas Estates, and then Vista del Cielo, and the loop back around to Mariposa Hills, Mariposa Manor Trailer Park, and then Villa San Simon. So those neighborhoods will start in June with the recycling program. And then the other route that will have recyclables picked up on Friday will be everything that's West Nogales by the hospital, those 2 neighborhoods over there, and then Monte Carlo. We've had positive feedback from the drivers on those routes, saying that they've seen a lot of clean recycling there, and they're anxious to start it. So we'll use the next 2 months to reach out to our citizens, and we'll have town hall meetings, and we'll get those organized mostly for the month of May. So that's our plan.
Mr. White, I want to thank you very much, seriously, because you started in the area where I live. In the beginning, I was a little concerned when you were going to pick up the blue and the gray on Monday, but I know it's been successful, especially in the area there in Villahermosa. And one thing that to be able to pick up, at least $200, or $100 and some worth of savings of clean recycle that doesn't have to go through a tipping fee weekly, in the long run, it's going to be very good. It's something that that's the way we should have addressed this 6-7 years ago. And, you know, it's been a task, an uphill battle for recycling in Nogales. And I want to thank you very much, because, you know, we all want to be pessimistic about everything, you know, but we have to be optimistic. We need to make sure these things are successful. And we only have to let it try and let it work. So again, I want to thank you and continue the good work. And I hope it's just as successful on the next section you do, because tonnage will increase. Maybe next time you come to us, or maybe you can put in our copies or something. Also, if we are getting any money from the recycling company on the commodities, because to save money on the tipping fees is one thing, to receive some money from the sale of the recycled goods is another thing. So I know it's very little, but I mean, every penny, you know, counts. Mr. Mayor said, yes, sir.
I really appreciate your comments and your compliments on staff's work. Aaron taking the lead on it. One of the big beauties of this program, you know, aside from the fact that we are taking material and diverting it from our landfill, right, is the fact that we implemented this program without incurring any additional cost to the city of Nogales, operationally. We use the same people, our same employees, the same routes, the same trucks. We just thought outside of the box in terms of utilizing those resources. And the net result is that we're diverting material from our landfill and from our tipping station, which means it's an ultimate savings for the city of Nogales.
Yes.
So, you know, I think that's the real clear message in what we're trying to accomplish here.
You know, I talked to some of the people at the Lions Club the other day, and they're kind of anxious to get their area done, especially in Nogales West. There's some people there that they've always been very into doing recycling, but they were very disappointed that we were commingling the trash. So I'm sure that when it gets to that area, you're going to have a lot more good, clean, well, I don't know about good, but clean waste that'll be going to recycling. Thank you, and I want you to give this message out on behalf of my office and on behalf of the city council to the people in sanitation for the good work that they're doing. Thank you very much. Item number 8 is consent agenda. That'll be item from A through C. I have a motion on that. So moved. Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 9, consideration and possible action of order number 2012-04-026.
So moved, Mayor.
Second. Thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 10, consideration and possible action of resolution number R2012-04-004. Discussion, a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion?
Any questions on it?
Any questions? This is a very important resolution that we should assist the Postal Service in opposing this, and I think it's a very important decision that we're making from our city to Postal Service.
Mr. Mayor, we do have a representative from the Postal Service here.
Yes, I talked to her. Do you want to get up and say something?
I'll say a couple words,
Okay.
sure.
You were identified.
My name is Barbara Mendoza. I am a Director of Industrial Relations for the American Postal Workers Union in Tucson, Arizona. I'm employed at the Nogales Post Office. This resolution will assist the many people that are trying to stop the closure of the Tucson plant. Our community will be greatly impacted by this. The degrading of the service that the Postal Service is trying to put forward will mostly impact southern Arizona. The turnaround of our mail is going to be delayed, and in addition to that, the economic impact to southern Arizona by the loss of over 300 jobs is going to be great. The average salary of those 300 people is between $50,000 and $60,000 plus benefits, so you can see what the impact would be to the Southern Arizona community. We're working very hard in conjunction with our congressman, trying to do whatever we can to try to keep the Tucson plant open and to keep our mail services at the fine standard that we've become accustomed to and that our businesses in Southern Arizona need for their success. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Members of the council, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Item number 11, future agenda items. Members of the council, anybody have any future agenda items? No? Good. Mr. Parada, hold on to Mr. Hanesian. Item number 12, city manager's report on current events. And Mr. Dilly, you do have 2 minutes. Aaron took 2 of your minutes. You got 2. I'm sure you can get it done.
Okay, well, to help out with that, I did put forward to your desks an update in written format. There's a little blurb there on the budget that might be helpful. We're tracking about 2 weeks behind the schedule that the council approved. So we're working on that. You should expect the draft tentative budget within the next couple of weeks. And we'll concurrently try to be scheduling up your study session so that we can go through that material and talk about it in as much detail as you'd like to talk about it. And hopefully move this process forward and have an approved budget in the month of June in preparation for the new fiscal year to start. So read that. There's some information in there about some challenges that we're facing. I wanted to make sure that I point out today marks the first day of the city of Nogales providing a public hotspot. That's kind of a jazz word, but basically we're providing free internet access to people on their mobile devices out here in the common area, maybe here in the parking lot if they're here, certainly in the building. We're also doing a similar program at the public library. The whole purpose of that is to just stay up to speed with the 21st century. As our population grows in familiarity with technology, kids are using it, adults are using it, teenagers are using it, college students are using it, and with that comes a growing expectation that service is being provided. You see many companies and industries following suit. McDonald's, Starbucks, a lot of these places now are providing these little local hotspots for internet access. People can check their mail while they're drinking a coffee. They can check their email or look at their Facebook or whatever while they're sitting outside watching their kids play in our wonderful park out front. So, and we're doing that without, it's a minimum cost in terms of equipment, but we're taking advantage of the broadband capacity that we already pay for. So it's really not a measurable cost to the city, and it provides a wonderful service to the general public. So that began today, and we're hoping to be able to expand that service as we go forward, but we got to start somewhere.
Mr. Dillon, just for a second. Now this includes the park here in front. Does it include the park in back, or?
No, it won't include the park out of back. You might get it in some places, but it would be closer to the parking lot here. We're intending it to really be focused out here in the front area at the park on this side.
Now, has this been posted on our website?
It will be, and we'll put a press release out in the paper as well. But today's the start date. It got turned online maybe a couple hours ago. So it's pretty fresh, hot off the press, and we wanted to let you know about it.
Is this 24 hours a day, or is it just?
No, we want to encourage people to obey the curfews and things like that. So I think we're scheduling like a 5 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, something along those lines. Something else I wanted to pay note on is every year we do an annual water report to EDWR. That water report is very important for the city of Nogales. In years past, including last year, we reported a water loss in excess of 20% of our water production. That's a huge problem, and what follows that, if we continued in that track, would be consent orders from the state and penalties. I'm happy to announce that we did our 2011, I think it's a 2011 report. We did a 2011 report, and that got done this last week and submitted to ADWR with a water loss reporting at less than 10%. The turnaround on that is kind of an all hands on deck approach. Revenue is tracking better on our water meter consumption. They're billing a little more accurately and responsively to the needs. We've got an aggressive meter replacement program. Over the last 12-month period, we've replaced over 200 meters. Obviously, we're accounting for a lot of water loss and leaks better today than we have been in the past, and we've replaced a lot of old water lines. Terrace, Morley Avenue, Coronado. These water lines inevitably leak, and it adds to our water loss. So, because we've been able to do that, it may invoke some questions from ADWR, because how on earth could we drop from a plus 20 to a less than 10%? But we have answers to those, because we've been pretty aggressive on trying to turn that around, and we didn't want to have the consent order or the common $50,000 a year penalty. Okay, so kudos to the water department, to revenue, to public works in terms of trying to turn that around, and hopefully it continues to get better.
So was any large leaks found or no?
Um,
I know there was one big one there on Morley Avenue that was found like 3 or 4 months ago. And I mean, was there any others?
Well, we're becoming more aware of tapping, fire hydrants and using water out of there without having proper meters on them. So I think we're just doing a much better job all the way around. I know that we're very aggressive with water leaks. We found a water leak up on, what's that road off of 82? What, Rotil? Ronquillo. Right up off of Grand Avenue. There was a water leak there, and we got pretty aggressive with that to get it taken care of. We're just being more responsive, and I think altogether that's really making a difference for us. So.
You had 2 water leaks in the same locations in Perkins. The same locations.
Perkins is an old line, was scheduled, as we all know, scheduled to have a replacement on it, but we had to make some decisions in trying to get Morley taken care of, which is a more heavily trafficked road. So obviously Perkins is still high on the radar, and we need to take care of these lines, and hopefully with the new rates in place, as we look at our capital, we'll be in a better position to be able to respond and take care of those changes.
Yeah, everything's old in Perkins.
No.
Except me.
The last thing that I wanted to report, was something that was directed from council at the last council meeting, and that was to take a close look at the ponds and the entryway to Meadow Hills. And if you haven't been out there, I think both Public Works and Parks and Rec have done a fantastic job in trying to get that cleaned up. They're not completely done, but it looks a night and day difference in terms of the entrance and the approach. One of the tasks was to take a look at filling that pond. I'm talking not the pond along the frontage road, but the pond just behind that to the west and along Country Club Road. We did it. We filled it up. It was a little over 1.7 million gallons of water. It took 38 hours to fill up, and it stayed in there all but 7 days. Okay, so we figured that if we were to plan on keeping that pond full, it would cost us, I put it in the report, it cost us $140 a month in electricity and about $2,400 a month in water. Okay, if we were to keep that, $2,400 a month in water. So we need to reconsider our approach on that particular pond and figure out how best to either keep it full or find an alternative use for that space. But to keep dumping water in there didn't make sense at all to me, and so we cut the pump and and we're back to trying to figure things out. But I wanted to make sure that we reported back to council in terms of our efforts, so that at least you had the big picture and you knew what was going on out there. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but you have the report in front of you. I do have.
Go ahead, Mr. Pettis. Yeah, I heard you talking about the budget. Are we gonna be able to talk to the directors themselves?
They will all be here in front of you, and you can ask them whatever questions you want.
Okay.
We're gonna have a study session.
I do want to publicly and officially introduce you to Mr. Tapia. Hector Tapia is our new planning director. He joins us from the city of Mesa. He formerly worked for the city of Tucson and the city of Chandler in their planning departments. Thank you again. I've had an opportunity to meet with him a couple of different times, including yesterday when we just happened to pick the same place for lunch, and so we joined each other for lunch.
Did he buy?
No.
He was there first.
I was there first. So, but I did want to, I do have a lot of high expectations, a lot of high hopes for Mr. Tapia. I know that he'll be working on monthly reports to my office, and I'm hoping to be able to include some of those things in my updates to the council in terms of activity, development on the horizon, looking at our development standards and getting those squared away and helping us move forward as a community. I'm very excited to have him on board, and I appreciate your welcoming of him. Nogales Rides is a program that we all hold kind of dear. The community, some of our community members really lean on that program for help. Over the last couple of months, we've really struggled. Our driver has fallen ill and hasn't been able to fill the seat. I wanted to report to the council that we were able to find funding within that program sufficient to hire a temporary employee to keep the bus going and to keep the service alive, in hopes to buy ourselves enough time to get our driver back in her seat and back with us. So I just wanted to let you know that that had occurred, and we're trying to move forward with that. So if you don't have any other questions.
I just have one more thing to say. I want to thank Mr. Bojorquez for not having a commission meeting today. Muchas gracias, amigo. All right, thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Hey.